Good evening and welcome to SAFC Fan TV and another edition of the Sunday Bunch Live. With us tonight on the panel, we've got Terry, Jacob, and we've got Lee, who's over in Spain, part of the BILBAO Black Cats. So, Terry, how's your day been?
It's been very wet and windy, been for a walk in the rain and the wind, 8K. Got absolutely drenched, but hey ho, it's the way it goes. I enjoyed myself.
I've been out in it. It blew me wig off and all that, but never mind. Jacob, how's your day been down south?
Yeah, not too bad. I haven't felt that too well today. Hopefully, I'll be able to recover in time for work tomorrow. I've had a week off, so yeah, back
had a week off. All right, for some. And we've been joined by Lee now. Lee is part of the BILBAO Black Cats, the Sunderland supporters down there. You're over in Spain, Lee, is that right?
That's right, mate. Yeah, Northern Spain, or Basque Country, as some people like to call it. Been here for 19 years. Yeah, happy days.
Nice one. How's your day been? How have you spent your day?
Most of it in bed, mate, recovering because I was out for a works do last night. I got home at 6 o'clock this morning, so nursing a mild hangover.
Fancy dress, man.
No,
right. Right. Before we start, then, I just want to say, first of all, a massive thank you because we got to the 10,000 subscribers. I know we hammered it last Sunday, and it was later on Sunday night. I was still at work. I was still checking, and we hit the 10,000. So massive thank you to you lot for doing that. Don't forget it, because we are live, which means you can have your say via the live chat. Get yourself in there. We'll try and include as many of you as we can. Already on there, Ian Wilkinson's on there, Nathaniel Newman, or Peter Solkle is always on there. Brian Watson is on there, and he says, it's not over. It's not over. Listen. Leeds beat Sheffield United on Monday, and we win on Friday. We are only 5 points behind. All right, so just bear that in mind when we're going through everything. Right then, so have your say on the live chat. What I want to do before we get into yesterday's debacle and all of that, I do want to quickly go back to Monday and Leeds United. Obviously, we lost it. We lost it 2-1. I'll start with you, Terry. Was it the substitutions that lost us the game?
I think it was just a second half performance, and in total, to be fair. I mean, Leeds are the best team in the league. I can probably say that. And they pinned us back in the second half. Couldn't get out of our half. And we basically just tried to soak up the pressure for the full 45 minutes. And eventually, at some point, it was going to, eventually they were going to score. And it was just hard lines. It was the last 12 minutes. But the substitutions didn't help. Sami didn't help. And playing him as number 10 certainly didn't help. But he said afterwards he tried to have somebody further up front to release the pressure from the defence, but it didn't work because he ran around like a headless chicken. So, no, it didn't work. And the same old Sunderland sitting back, trying to soak up the pressure and defend. Eventually, Leeds broke us down and won the game. Very disappointing in the end.
Right, okay, fair enough. Quickly on the chat, Mike's on there. Here we go. We go again. Keep the faith, he says. Just very quickly, Martin Smith on here says, first point, let's not have a knee-jerk reaction and start slating Patterson. Let's be actual fans and support him through his dip in form. We're here. We don't want to be sort of slagging any Sunderland players off, because if we're not, they're all doing well. But if somebody's not doing well, then we're going to talk about it and we're going to have our opinions on it. So we are going to be getting on to Patterson. Obviously, going to be a big part of the show tonight as well. Lee, the Leeds game, Leeds 2, Sunderland 1. Was it the substitutions? I mean, we were 1-0 up when he started making them. Is that what lost us the game?
I think maybe it could have been done a bit earlier, because 2 minutes after he made them, that's when they scored, isn't it? That's when they equalised. So I don't think you can blame the subs for the timing, because it did happen 2 minutes later. But I think he could have done it maybe 10, 15 minutes before. But it's the story of the season, and he always makes the subs late, or he doesn't make them. Samed was a bit baffling, wasn't it, to put him number 10? I could, on the one hand, I could see why he did that, because he was trying to cut out Leeds from playing out at the back, but I mean, it just didn't work. And then Mayenda, when you bring Mayenda off and Isidore goes off, then Mayenda's got no one to play off. So, yeah, it was a bit baffling. Did that cost us the match? No, I don't think so. I think it was just we sat back, but I think we expected that. Leeds are a good team. I don't think they played excellently. I think they played much better than that. But I think, our wingers didn't get into the game, and that's our creative core of the team, isn't it? The wingers, Lafayette and Roberts recently. And if they're playing very deep and not getting the ball high up the pitch, then they can't do any damage. And that's pretty much what happened.
Right, okay. Just before I come to you, Jacob, back to the chat. Harvey925 says, it's over, unfortunately. We're pretty much settled for the playoffs. Well, that contradicts what was just said earlier about if results go our way. Jacob, on Monday night against Leeds, was it the substitutions? What cost us the game?
For me, it was lapses of concentration for me on a defensive point of view. I thought in terms of the subs we made regarding to Reggie's thought process, for me bringing Samed on, he wanted us to try and win the ball or give us a better chance of winning the ball more in the final third of the pitch, hence why he played him as a number 10. But for me, I just felt we had a lot of tired legs in there anyway. You could have potentially looked at maybe Brown coming in for more experience, but I think Brown had just returned from injury, and I think Samed had the odd appearance off the bench, and he'd started that Plymouth game in previous weeks. So I think it was obviously written in the script that he would have a part to play at some point. A little bit disappointed. I thought he would have maybe given Mundell some minutes in this one. I think when it was our final game against the sides above us, you've got to take any risk you can. And when I think he's our second joint highest goal scorer, contributed to many at the start. He's only got 4 goals, but he's got a few assists as well, made a significant contribution at the beginning of the season. You would have thought he had a part to play. But yeah, it wasn't to be. Lapses of concentration from the goalkeeper. We'll come on to him a little bit later. But yeah, we were responsible for our own downfall in that game, because for 70 minutes, I didn't really see Leeds landing a glove on us. To be honest, I thought we set up to contain them, soak up pressure and catch them on the counter. We've done that superbly. And then it was 2 sloppy errors, the free kick that led to the equaliser, and then obviously the one for Patterson that led to their winner as well. Yeah, very disappointing to see.
Right. I kind of agree. I've had loads of Leeds fans come back at me saying how great they were, and I don't think they were that good at all. And I think over Leeds, Sheffield United, and Burnley, I think we should have beaten all of those. Really, I mean, second half we was poor against Leeds. Just very quickly on the chat, Tony Lee's on there saying, "All right, you lads." Martin Smith, he'll probably get slated. He says, but he thinks that Bellingham and Rigg are overrated. Ian Brown says there's still plenty of points to play for. We need to start winning games. We do need to start winning games. That's correct. Of the subs, what were made? There were some funny ones. Paveda came on, and even though when he came on, I sort of rolled my eyes, I did think, it could be nailed on. Ex-Leeds player comes back, gets a goal, and trying to build me hopes up with that. But he had Mundell on the bench, didn't bring him in. Samed coming on. If you could have made some changes yourself, Terry, what would you have done? Would you just kept it the same?
Do you know what it is? If depends what the plan was. Was the plan to sit in and try and defend and counter on the counter attack? When you get the last 15 minutes, it seemed a bit stubborn, Regis. We could have changed the shape. Maybe put Meppemon alongside Ballard and go 9 and gone 3 at the back with 2 wing backs and changed it a little bit, because the height with the substitutes they made, they brought a height on. They brought a centre back at the front. So maybe we should have changed and brought Meppemon if we were going to try and defend for the full 90 minutes. And for me, it just seems strange to put someone like Samid as a number 10. You've got better options to do than do something like that. For me, Isidore was the one that they were frightened of. And as soon as he went off, We had nobody.
Well, exactly.
You know, he's a different type of player. Meander to Isidore. He hasn't got the pace of Isidore, and Isidore holds the ball up quite well. But they were all sitting further deeper and deeper. So we're not putting anybody on the halfway line. So as soon as we don't put anybody on the halfway line, Leeds can put everybody towards our box. Where if we put someone on the halfway line, at least they've got to have two of their defenders or two of their players, Mark and Isidore. So the whole not having our fastest striker on the halfway line, it baffles me because that releases a bit of the pressure. It wouldn't have the whole Leeds team blocking us in.
Right, okay. I'll come to you just now, Jacob. I know you went in there just very quickly on the chat there. David Case is in the playoffs by Easter or whatever. Emma, who's part of the channel down here, saying Leeds, same old Sunderland this season, dropping points in the last minute, stuff like that. Jacob, you're one in there.
I think how Reggie will defend the criticism is, this is obviously you wouldn't say this, but in his mind, in terms of Isidore, his biggest attribute is running into space and him, running into down the channels, like capitalizing on those balls over the top. But when you have a striker that does that, listen, we've lost two players on Saturday to hamstring injuries once again in Ballard and Lefay. Players who have pace as their main attribute, you've got to manage them in the right way. And whether that's obviously taking him off at this moment in time, if he feels that's the right decision, fair enough. But we've got to try and get more goals out of this side other than just relying on those balls to Isidore, particularly in the second half of games.
Right, okay then. Lee, would you have made any different substitutions, or would you just kept it the same, or what would you have done?
I think Terry hit the nail on the head. I think as soon as Isidore went off.
Sorry, Lee. Can you do this in Spanish?
Of course I can if you want me to, yeah.
Yeah, do a bit of Spanish. I like that.
Do a bit of Spanish.
Yeah, go on.
Sí, claro. Pudimos haber hecho mejores cambios.
Yeah!
Yes. The first Spanish guest.
Well done. I like a bit of culture on it. Right, sorry, Lee. Go on.
No worries, mate. No, I reckon Terry's hit the nail on the head. As soon as Isidore went off, I reckon Leeds defenders must have breathed a sigh of relief, because they saw in the first half when he scored that goal how just dangerous he is in those situations. And bringing Mayenda on, they must have thought, well, this is like a walk in the park now, and that's what it was. And yeah, when they scored that goal, I mean, the equaliser, you're thinking, should we bring on another defender? And having like a 12 million rated defender from a Premier League club on the bench, and your backs to the wall against top of the league away from home, I think it's a no-brainer. You bring it on. Poveda was a strange one, because I don't think he was what we needed at that time, because he's not going to get you up the pitch. We couldn't even get up the pitch. So I mean, I think Mayenda might have been a better option on the right wing, and then Samed for Rigab, and then move like Dan Neil a bit further forward and Joe a bit further forward, and put Samed in front of the defence. Those are the three changes that I think I would have made.
Yeah, okay then. Just very quickly back on the chat. A lot of people agreeing with you there. Terry Ian agrees with you. Rusty Mackham in Gran Canaria tuning in says Mepham should have come on Leeds, no question down there. DJ Sizzler Watson. That's what I said, Terry. So they're all sort of agreeing with Terry. Terry talking a lot of sense for a change. I mean, as he normally does. There you go. Look, we've got almost 100 people on the channel at the moment watching. We try and get 100 likes if we can on a Sunday, so just hit that thumbs up. We're on 31 at the moment, so if we can get to 100, if you're watching on a mobile device and you got the live chat on, just close the live chat. You see the thumbs up, just hit that. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, do so. It's free to subscribe. Leeds winner. And I know Patterson's going to get slated, no doubt, for the whole game. Was he to blame for their winner, Jacob?
Unfortunately, yes. When he watches it back himself, he'll be bitterly disappointed the way how he reacted to that ball coming into the box. For me, he's got to be a lot stronger. He's got to do better in commanding his own box, basically, in terms of, was it wanting to come out and claim that, which is something that he should have done, really. I think when you watch it back, it looks like he just flaps it completely. I mean, he could have come out and even punched the ball. He could have come out and just, told the rest of his defenders, Patterson's ball, easy job done. But, I
said to our lass, I said, here we go again. It's like last minute. I mean, it was literally the last touch of the game, really.
More or less, yeah.
We've done it again, and we've done it time and time again.
And it's not the first time as well.
Lee, was Patterson to blame for their winning goal then, Leeds?
I think he had a hand in it, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he did have a hand in it, actually, to be honest, but go on.
But, yeah, I mean, he could have done better, of course he could. I mean, he is renowned for being stuck to his line quite a bit. I mean, even for the first goal, it was a good delivery, but he was stuck to his line and he was kind of blocked off, so he couldn't get out. The second goal, I mean, it was from a corner, wasn't it? It was like came back out to the right-hand side. Again, I think it could have been maybe closed down, just tiredness, I think, and we didn't get there. And when you give a person
from as well.
Yeah, and when you give a person time to put a decent ball in, and with the height that they've got, and the momentum's in their favour, I think, yeah, those things happen. But yeah, I think he needs to take some of the blame. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Before coming to you, Terry, I want to quickly go back to the chat here, and we say this all. We call them tight shorts in our house because Ian's saying he's too heavy to get off the ground. Victoria Burns on the chat says Patterson could have done better, but Samed's header to clear was shocking, mind. David K says yes, he was to blame, but the defending from the cross was piss poor. He also agrees with you there, Jacob. Terry, well, was he to blame for their second goal?
Look, as the previous comment before, somewhere somebody's saying, "Oh, hope we're not going to slag off Patterson." You know, we're not here to slag off players. We're here to critique players and to give our opinion on players. We all want the Sunderland players to succeed, regardless who they are in the side. So we're not coming on just to slag off players. I hate that kind of mentality. People saying, "Oh, you're not going to slag this or give this one some grief." We're just having a critique. We're just having our opinion. I like Patterson personally, and I think it's time now for him to give him a bit of a rest. I think it's time for him to move to the bench for his sake, as well as the team, just to have a bit of a timeout, just to sort of recalibrate, get some training done, get his confidence going again. That's why you have the squad rotation. You have squad players. You have Moore, experienced player there. There's no harm whatsoever in Moore coming into the side, Patterson taking the backside for a couple of games, get him rejuvenated, back for the end of the season in case we need him in the playoffs, that sort of thing. But I think it's time to give Moore a chance because he's made one or two mistakes over the last few games. And if players make mistakes and are costing the team points, it's time. That's why you got a deep squad to rotate your squad. Let someone else have a go. So for me, Patterson has been to blame for a couple of goals over the last couple of games, but we're not going to slag him off. I want him to succeed. I want to take a bit of a rest on the bench and come back stronger.
All right. The King of the Walk Award is going to go to Dan Wilkes on the chat. Now, I know I'm a certain generation, so there's nothing more winds me up than the cancel culture, the wokeness and all this. So he says the question is, Simon Moore any better than Pato? We're going to get onto that coming up here. But he's saying made some mistake. But the fat shaming comments are shocking. Look, if somebody's overweight, they're overweight. And we're not here. Like I said, we're not here to slag people off. But if somebody needs to lose some weight because they're carrying too much weight, then we should be allowed to say that. It's not fat shaming. It's like the problem is this culture. And I've got to try and not get on my soapbox here, right? You promote this everybody be fat. How unhealthy is it to be an obese person? It's not healthy at all. But because people are too scared to say you're overweight and you'd be a lot fitter and healthier if you lost some weight, people are going around going, "Oh, it's fine to be 20 stone. Sorry about that. Terry, go on.
Is he actually overweight though? Or has he just been on that? Does he just do a lot of weights? I know he's bulked out over the summer. I think he goes to the gym too much. He's bulked out. He's quite muscly. He's a bigger lad. He's obviously, that's his natural, probably where he's going to develop into a really muscly player. Now, maybe over muscly for a keeper at this point in time, but that's the way he is. I don't actually see him as being fat at all. I think he's just, he's just obviously doing a lot of weights and a lot of kind of fitness training.
I just think he needs bigger shorts, me. That's all. Bigger shorts and a bigger shirt. I've been wearing big shirts forever because I'm overweight.
You probably hit the gym too much.
I've fat shamed myself. So, right, while we're on Patterson on this, and we'll really get into Patterson for the whole game and whatever. And again, like I echo what Terry's just said, it's not about, we're not here to slag the players off. Right, we want them all to be doing brilliant, and we're singing the praises. We're having our opinion on them. That's all we're doing, you know. And he's out of form, and so we're not going to hide away from that and pretend that he's doing brilliant. He's kicking. He's kicking has been terrible for months now. All right. So should he stop kicking out, and should he just start playing out from the back, Terry?
Well, I mean, I think maybe he might need a different coach, a different goalkeeping coach to help him, because sometimes if you have the same goalkeeping coach, it might just not work. You might need a different tack or something. But for me, I just feel like, you know, his kicking hasn't been the best for a long time, hasn't been a good kicker for a long time. And that's part and parcel of being a goalkeeper. And unfortunately, keepers and strikers, because if strikers don't score goals all season, you're not going to score goals. You're not going to win games. If goalkeepers make mistakes, there's nobody else there by the keeper. So they're signalled out. So for me, he does need to work on his kicking. And maybe he's, play out from the back a bit more. But obviously, I think sometimes he's a bit hesitant as well. But I think that comes as well with the confidence. And if his confidence is already down the whole game, his confidence will be down in all sorts of different attributes of his game. So that's why I think a step back, recalibrate and try and come back stronger might be the way to go forward for Patterson.
Right, okay. Just very quickly, back on the chat before I come round to you, lads. Emma is saying, she did say weeks ago about Pato's weight. Be careful, Emma, be careful. Ian says he's eaten the weights, apparently. And David Kay is saying, easy to criticise Pato, but what about Isidore when he missed a sitter or someone else? Look, everybody can be criticised. You know, nobody can get away with it if the criticism's deserved, really. Lee, his kicking has not been good. Should he just stop doing it and sort of like play it out from the back?
I don't think there's a choice, really. I think that's the way Lebris wants us to play. Excuse me. But I think he's kicking, if you look at it though, his kicking is only really bad when he gets balls back from the defenders. That put him into a hurry. You know what I mean? So if he's got time to kick it, he won't make a mess of it. But he gets a lot of suicide passes sometimes from O'Nien or from the fullbacks who don't really help him. It would be easier to just like basically play a long ball upfield for Isidore, but instead they always go back to pass and put him under pressure. And more often than not, they put him on his left foot. And obviously he's a right-footed keeper. He can do all right with his left foot, but I mean, if you put him under pressure, I think it doesn't help him. So I don't think his kicking is a massive issue in general, but I think that when he gets balls played back to him under pressure, I don't think it helps.
Right, okay. I tend to disagree a bit with you, Lee, on the under pressure thing. Yeah, when he's under pressure, you can sort of like, you can forgive him that. But there's been times he's not under pressure and he's he's been kicking it and they've gone into touch and things like that. And we have brought it up a few times on this channel. Just very quickly, Emma on there says, I'm a beach whale myself. Emma, you're a lovely person. Honestly, you are. Jacob, should he stop kicking out now then and just play it out to the back?
Each time, there's some moments in games where it really infuriates me. But then again, Lee does raise a good point. I think some of the passes that are made back to him are really poor as well. So I'm not the sort of person who comes on here that likes to single out players, but obviously we'll come on to the whole thing later on. But right now, where it for me, it just needs to go back to basics. I think Terry said, it could even be a confidence thing right now. I think he could potentially do with a few games out the side, to reevaluate himself, and then he'll come back stronger and earn his place back in. Because I do have the confidence that he will be able to turn this around, Pato. But right now, things could get even worse. But he has to, come back with, if he is going to continue in goal, he has to put in a fantastic performance at Sheffield Wednesday. I think the only way for him to do is to keep a clean sheet at the minute, and
save 3 penalties.
I think that would be a bit extreme, to be honest. But
no. I think he's going to do that to get back in my good books. No, go on. You're all right.
Yeah. I do agree with what Victoria says in the chat, though. To be fair, it has got nothing to do with his weight. I think it's just down to common sense in terms of the mistakes he's making right now, because they have been very poor errors that will be affecting his confidence at the minute. But fair play to Pato. He has made some brilliant moments for us, and he can get back to the Patterson he was. But yeah, he needs time out, I think, at the moment.
Right. Okay, then let me quickly go back to the chat. Try and include as many people as we can. Pixel Rich says, I think a new goalkeeping coach has recently been appointed. Yeah, that correct? Yeah. Find a critique players, not slag them off. They are human beings too. Well said, lads. Ian said it's all part of the modern game, obviously passing out from the back is what he's saying there. David is saying nearly every time he tries to kick it into the wings with the ball in hand, it goes for a throw-in. Right, okay, let's just before we move off the Leeds game then, was there a man of the match? Any one of our lads sort of stood out for you? Lee?
Thought 09 had a decent game. That was about it. Not really anyone else, really.
Right, okay, fair enough. Terry?
Yeah, I thought Dan Neil had a decent game, and I thought he should obviously getting the goal, so one of those two for me.
And Jacob?
Isidor's finish. We haven't spoke about that, by the way. That was a brilliant goal, one of the best out of the 11 he's got so far this season. Brilliantly shrugging off the Leeds centre-back to hit it in off the post. Dan Neil had a good game in the centre of the park, controlling that midfield at times. But shout out also, I thought Dan Ballard done well. It was a brilliant assist, brilliant ball over the top for Isidor's goal as well. It's just a shame about the injury he picked up the other day.
Right, okay. Dan Wilkes is back on there. He says spot on, Jacob. He agrees with you there. And there was another one. So, Stan Laurel says Robertson needs dropping, no end product. Right, what I'll do then, just very quickly, if you can hit the like button for us, we're up to what we are now, 54 likes. We're trying to get 100 if we can, as we try and do every single Sunday when we do the Sunday Bunch. Just hit the like button for us, and don't forget, of course, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It's free to do so. Hit that subscribe button. Right, here's one for you then. Right, so all of a sudden we're shit. Right, we've lost 2 in a row. We've been dropping points, getting draws and stuff like this. Right, this coincides incidentally with the departure of Mike Dodds. Right, so funny, Mike Dodds all of a sudden is away, and we're not very good. So, is there anything in that? Do you think we've not seen him as an important role as what we should have done, Jacob?
It shouldn't have any effect whatsoever, to be brutally honest. I don't believe in this superstition regards to coaches, to be brutally honest.
No, but apparently a very good coach. Not a terrible manager, but
I could agree. But then again, he has been offered the chance to get back into management when we thought he wouldn't have that opportunity again. So fair play to him, and he's inherited a good Wickham team who's on a promotion charge at the minute. So fair play to him.
Yeah, listen, I'm not, I'm not criticising Mike Dodds for taking the opportunity to go and manage Wickham. Not at all. I'm just saying, we've not been his sort of biggest fans on here, really. But I mean,
not as a head coach, no.
No, but Terry, what do you think? I mean, he's gone, and we've not been very good. So is anything in that?
Like we said all along, he's not a head coach. He's not somebody you want to make the big decisions, but he's obviously somebody the team gets on with, the players like, and he was obviously a good coach in his own right, doing whatever he does behind the scenes. That clearly worked for a long time. Now, when you say all of a sudden we're shit, we're not all of a sudden, we're not just shit, we're not. I think we've been
really shit.
I think we've been going off the boil slowly for a few weeks now. Been a few games, Watford at home, Plymouth at home. We haven't been playing that well at home for a while, you know. We've just we just changed a little bit what we've done from the season. You know, teams have changed the way they play at the Stadium of Light. At the start of the season, you know, everybody sort of wants to get in the playoffs, don't they? So they're all going for the points, and then later on in the season, teams are starting to bottom three, bottom four. They're starting to fight, you know, for the cause, starting to fight for every single point, and they're fighting more than what Sunderland are fighting for. You know, Plymouth come to Sunderland, they fought their tooth and nail. They got the point yesterday, a whole, you know, only 2 points off rock bottom. They came yesterday and they put in a pretty good performance. They fought for it yesterday. We weren't at the races yesterday. We didn't have that, you know, intense sort of in your face. We weren't sort of 100%. We were sitting back. We seemed to be a bit lost. A bit of a lost cause, sort of lost with ideas.
Right, let me stop you there, Terry.
We're not shit. We've just gone off the boil. We just tapered off. That's all.
We're going to come on to Hull next, so I'll let you.
Like last season, we tapered off towards the end of the season. We don't want to be doing the same again, but that's the way it's going. Right.
Okay. Just let me quickly go to the chat before I come to you, Lee, on this one. Ian says, if you were a Championship manager, would you buy Job? There you go. There's a question for you. JS2000 says, even Allison dropped a few clangers. Our goalkeeper is still very good. Dan Wilkes, are we missing Dodds? Somewhere. Ian says, Philly, what was his record when he managed the team at the end of last season? We're not on about Dodds as a manager. We know as a manager he's not really proved himself, and I mean, hopefully he does really well at Wickham. I'd love him to do well and get Wickham up there and whatever. So, you know, we wish him well on that. But for us, he's not been very good. But we're not saying that. We're saying, as it affected him not being part of the coaching team, leaving us, as that affected how we're playing now. David K says, Ian, we've won two out of 15. And John Ruddock says, Labrese's hands are tied by Speakman. Go on, Terry, because then I'm going to bring Lee in. Go on.
The chances are we could be playing Mike Dodds next season.
There you go. Lee, Mike Dodds leaving. Do you think this could be part of us, our dip in form?
Yeah, yes and no, Philly. But I think like the dip in form has been something happening for several months. I think you go back towards the end of October when we had the run of 5 draws and 1 defeat. We were top by 6 points, and all of a sudden we're fourth. We've won 8 out of the last 22 games, 10 draws and 4 defeats. So I think that, like as Terry said, like gradually we've been going off the boil. And I think like the Luton game was the first time we've won by 2 goals since Oxford Derby in October. So does it have an effect? I think, well, listen, the players like him. I think that was evident when he left, and Isidore praised him on Sky Sports on the live interview. But I think also, Philly, have we got too many coaches? Because we've got this Portuguese guy, we've got Dodds, we've got Proctor, we've got Barcarini. They all seem to be on the touchline gathering. I just wonder sometimes, is it a case of too many cooks spoil the broth? You know what I mean? Like if you got too many ideas and voices in there. I think Dodds was a good coach. I met him last year at International Fans Day, had a good chat with him, really knowledgeable. As a first team coach for us, I think he probably will be a loss over time, but I don't think that's the reason of the recent dip in form, because I think it's been longer.
Right, okay. I just want to show you this because I did bring it up last Sunday, and I hunted it out. On the 6th of August, we was on the channel and we did predictions for who was going up and what have you. And I'm just going to show you my predictions are normally really shit, but I wish I'd put money on this. I don't know if you can see that. But my top 2 were Leeds, Sheffield United, playoffs, Burnley, Sunderland. I mean, I know we got no. I mean, Coventry could be up there, but I mean, if I'd have put money on that, I mean, because the top four are going to probably end probably like that. But unbelievable. Right, let's get on to the game yesterday. We're all frustrated. We had our weekends ruined. Sunderland 0, Hull City 1. First of all, Lee, overall performance with Sunderland, what did you think?
Flat. Zero creativity. I mean, our creativity always comes down the wings and not through the middle. And so our build plays like quite slow, lethargic. And then we're basically hoping for Lefay or Roberts to do a bit of magic. But when they do magic, there's just no one in the box getting on the end of it. There's only Isidore really in the box. Job and Rig don't get on the end of balls as much as they used to. So yeah, I think that's just the reason why. I mean, slow, lethargic play. We're not playing on the front foot. We're playing very defensive, and I think we need to go back to the way we were at the start of the season. High press. We had like Rig. We had Job. There was a very good coordinated high press at the start of the season. We were dispossessing them high in the pitch and causing threats. But now we just seem very lethargic.
Right, okay. Just very quickly, I need to go back to the chat. Good to see we got a bit of positivity in there. John Nisbet says, while these puppet owners and speakmen are here, we are going nowhere. Simple as that. Thanks for the positive spin on that then. Jacob, overall performance yesterday, your thoughts?
Well, Philly, it has to be the worst performance of the season, as well as the worst performance we've seen at the Stadium of Light this season. Totally hopeless for 90 minutes. We looked too pedestrian. We were slow in terms of getting up the pitch. Wasn't enough creativity. For me, at times, we lacked a real desire to take the game and to halt and take risks. I thought we struggled in terms of breaking down a Hull City team who are fighting relegation at the minute, but have had a bit of confidence since they've changed their manager and tweaked their style of play. But it goes back to Lee's point he made a few minutes ago. We tend to struggle against teams like that at the Stadium of Light, and it's something we need to address. Otherwise, we're asking for trouble. If you look at our remaining home games we've got this season, I think the likes of Millwall's in there, Cardiff's in there. Who else we got? QPR, that's the last one of the season. There's one more as well. Preston as well, midweek. All teams that like to play a similar sort of style to what we saw from Hull yesterday. Low block, trying to catch teams potentially on the break or take advantage of the odd set piece, and that's what Hull done yesterday. But it's down to a keeper that we've got that's low on confidence right now.
Right, okay. Thanks, Jacob. But just very quickly, before I come to you, Terry, on the chat here. Mackham 1973 says Pato not to blame for the goals yesterday, and underneath that, Stuart Diggle says Pato's dad with a finger pointing up at him. Rusty Mackham in Gran Canaria said Hull look fourth top, we look fourth bottom. Absolutely spot on that comment. Spot on. Overall performance first, Terry. Yesterday, how were we?
Yeah, it was definitely the worst performance of the season for me, if not one of them. I mean, Watford at home was poor again. I thought we didn't really in that game was similar to yesterday's game. We seemed to struggle to hang on to the ball, seemed to struggle to find. We're really slow and pedestrian. That's the thing. We don't seem to want to up the tempo. And, it was a bit like that season where other teams get all the bodies behind the ball and then counters get us on the counter attack. I mean, if you take away, it's obviously a blatant mistake by Pato yesterday. If you take that away, it's a 0-0 draw, So I didn't think Hull didn't really create a lot of chances. I don't think they were particularly great. I think we were just poor. We were poor with sort of going forward, poor with ideas. We looked really sort of lacking ideas at all until we actually changed it, and we eventually brought Mienda on and tried to put two up top, and it's just it was just disappointing in the intensity as well. You want to see a bit of passion and a bit of intensity and get in the faces with a high press. And none of that was there yesterday. It's like, are they already sort of in the back of their mind thinking, well, we're in the playoffs, we're clearing the playoffs, and not really giving 100%. So I want to see a big change on against Sheffield Wednesday. Some players are looking out of form. Pato's out of form. Chris Riggs out of form. And for me, you've got to start. The head coach has got to start using his squad. That's why we have a squad. We've got a squad of players. It's just a shame about Lefay yesterday, because him in the middle is so much different.
Right, okay. Just very quick. I'll come back to you just now, Jacob, on the chat. Miles Percival has obviously been to Hull, because he calls them Hull, which they all call him Hull, did their homework. And Tom Wolf says, I thought Sunderland played well, but very slow. And he says he's a City fan, so I'm assuming that's Hull City. Thanks for your opinion on that, Tom. Jacob, you want to?
It was a question to Terry. Say, for example, if Lefay didn't pick up that injury yesterday, would he have potentially? Because I'm still convinced, Mundell would have been on the pitch regardless second half. Would he have potentially moved Lefay into the middle for the second half of that game?
Now, I don't know whether Regis Labrie would have made a change at half-time.
You don't think?
No, my head tells me he would still wait for at least 10, 15 minutes before he made the change. But it's a no-brainer. As soon as Mundell's fit and raring to go, Labrie has to go in the centre. Simple as. You've got to put Chris Rigg on the bench, use him more of an impact player, and have Lefay in there with a bit of energy and his bit of oomph in there, a bit of creativity. That's what we need in the middle now. We need something. It's a bit too stagnant in the middle now. We're not creating much out of them three in the middle. We're not creating much. Chris is good at breaking up the play and this, that, and the other, but getting the ball forward, we need somebody with a bit of zest and a bit of skill, and that's what Lefay would bring to the middle of that park with Mundell on the left.
Right, okay, just very quickly back on the chat here. John Nesbitt, enlighten me, Philly. I'm intrigued as to why you're so positive. I'm always positive when it comes to Sunderland. I just am. My glass is always half full with that. And John Ruddock is determined that someone else is pulling the strings here. He's saying you, Terry, is told who to play, who not to play. Tom Wolf, who is our Hull City fan, on there said we caught them on a good day. I must admit, when I was in the Wheat Chief beforehand, and we had the Hull City fans in, got a few on stage and was getting their predictions. They were all saying they were a lot better. They play a lot better away from home than they do at home. They beat Sheffield United 3-0 at their place, and there's no getting away from the fact that no matter how poor we were yesterday, they looked very good yesterday. I thought there was they certainly didn't look like they were in the bottom three. No way. But anyway, let's get on to Patterson now. All right. First of all, was he actually to blame for the goal?
Yes.
Or was it the fact that Roberts was stood on the post and he sort of like he just sort of gets in his way? Or even 09,
there we go.
Give him the corner away. You can, all of those factors led to that goal. Jacob, you're one in there on that. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, singling out Patterson, yes, obviously it was his, but it was his mistake that led to the goal. But we have to talk about it was a poor mistake also from 09 in the pass back to him. It was just a lack of communication at the back, and that's happened on more than one occasion since the turn of the year, really. I think these defensive cracks are starting to form all of a sudden. That back four we persisted with, where it had, was it Mepham alongside 09 and Sirkin and Hume, is at the start of the season, that was probably the strongest back four in the league. And all of a sudden, I know Mepham didn't start the game on Saturday. We had Ballard in there, but still, it should be a solid defensive pairing to see out a side who are fighting for their lives down the bottom. And yeah, it was just down to poor individual mistakes, lapses of concentration. You can't blame Roberts for that, to be honest. If you watch it back on the replay, the ball clearly lands in Patterson's hands without Roberts hardly jumping, to be brutally honest. Fair play to Roberts as well. A lot of people like to have a go at me for criticising him on social media, but I thought he was one of our better players the other day. I thought he actually wanted to make stuff happen. But yeah, back on to Patterson. It's another mistake once again.
Right.
It's cost us.
All right, cheers. Thanks, Jacob. Just very quickly on the chat. I'll come to you now, Terry, because I know you want in there. Where was that? Mackham 1973 is saying that with 09 in defence, we'll never get promoted. I'm a bit of a fan of 09. I don't think he's that bad myself. Terry, you want in there?
On the whole 09 thing, I think he's 29 years of age now. If we don't make it to the Premier League, but if we make it to the Premier League as well, I think next season it's time to remove Luke 09 from the centre-back position and buy a proper centre-back and have a couple of centre-backs in there. That's their job from come through the ranks as centre-backs, whether it's Ballard and Mepham or somebody else, because Ballard's quite injury-prone a lot. But I think, we're getting to a point now where I think we've peaked to Luke 09's ability. And I think, I love him to bits. It seems like he's a class player. He's funny as out. But I think if we want to progress to the next level, it's time to bring in a decent centre-back, a couple of decent centre-backs to partnership each other. If you buy Mepham, fair enough. Bring somebody else in. If Ballard is not fit, I think it's time for that change. Now, to go with Pato, if Pato shouted at Roberts, my ball, and Roberts still went for it, then it's Roberts' fault. If Pato didn't say anything, then it's Pato's fault. I'm down there. I never heard Pato shout, but I'm not 100% sure. He needs to be more vocal. That there for a keeper needs to say, right, it's my ball, and just punch it clear, simple as. But it seemed to me as if he didn't do anything vocal to get Roberts from jumping towards the ball. So I think it's a bit of a calamity from Patterson. But there again, he's got to learn from those mistakes and come back stronger.
Right, okay. Just welcome to you, Willie, on the chat down there. You've just echoed the sentiments of Ian down there, saying all he had to do was shout keeper and collect the ball. Roberts would have dipped his head. Atreus Thane is saying people need to get a grip. It's been a great season, which it has been a great season. We're a young team. The way our fans act is embarrassing. No, I think we all agree we've had a brilliant season and we're over the moon. All we're doing is we just like it to be a bit better. Terry, go on, then I need to bring Lee in.
I think that's the point. If we have an opinion, we're embarrassing. We're not embarrassing. We have an opinion. And this 5-year plan was supposed to come to fruition this season. Now, we made the playoffs 2 seasons ago. We didn't make the playoffs last season. We're going to make the playoffs this season. If we're still in the championship next season, then they need to really up the game and bring in some players to go for the top 2 for me. Or are we just happy in getting to the playoffs? Yes, we've had a good season. And the whole young team situation is, in the summertime, we're probably going to lose Job. The chances are we could possibly lose 2 or 3 players this summer. Now, to replace those quality players like Job and Chris Rigg and possibly 1 or 2 others, you've got to reinvest again. So, I think the team comes together at a certain age and starts playing well together, and you've got to use that. And I feel like we maybe missed a trick not bringing maybe 1 or 2 additions in the transfer window in January. So, if we are in the playoffs this season, but don't make it to the final, don't make it to the Premier League, I think next season for me is the season again. I always said this was the season for me for the owners to tell me what they're made of, but they haven't really put a lot of money into it. The wise, they made some good decisions and brought some decent players in, and they've got the really good youngsters coming together well. But I think if we want to make it into the Premier League, we've got to invest a little bit more to get up to that top 2, which is going to be hard because all of the parachute payments is not easy.
Right, okay, Terry. I am going to bring you in now, Lee, but I've just got to answer this on the chat down here. Atreus Thane says, the sun got in Patterson's eyes. The proximity of Roberts didn't help. Well, that's a load of bollocks about the sun. I know they said on the telly, sun and all that, load of shite, because he was facing the east stand. It came from that end. Anybody who sat in the east stand on a sunny day will know for a fact that they're blinded by the sun. So the sun was actually behind Patterson. So don't go blaming the sun, because that's just a load of bollocks. That right, Lee, sorry to keep you waiting, mate. Was Patterson actually to blame, or did Roberts have a hand in that as well?
I think it depends on the shout of the keeper, Philly. I think if Patterson gives a shout, then he has to basically go and give everything to get that ball. But I don't think he does. I think he maybe he doesn't give a shout and thinks
doesn't give a shout.
No, doesn't give a shout or doesn't give a shite. I don't know. But yeah, I think he just needs to give a shout, and then if he has to take Paddy out with a big punch to claim the ball on man, then he's got to do it. Paddy Roberts, he's on the post. I mean, he's positioned there for a reason. So unless he gets the shout, he's still got to go try and defend the ball. But I mean, going back to the reason why the corner happened, I mean, 09, it just shows the confidence of him that he would try something like a back header like that, whereas the most, I know, sensible thing to do would have been just like left foot hook out of play for a throw in.
Well, fair enough. Right, I need to rattle through these because I didn't realise that was the time. Right, Sheffield Wednesday. Do we drop Patterson for Simon Moore? Nice and simple. Terry?
Yes.
Yes. Jacob?
I think so. Yeah, I think it could be beneficial.
Lee?
I wouldn't go for a change, no, Philly, no. I think, listen, when you're a keeper and you make a mistake, you're the last man, and it's always something bad's going to happen. And I think yesterday, after the goal, he kind of he recovered and he made 2 or 3 good saves because he had some more difficult corners. And no, I don't think Simon Moore is a better option. I don't think Patterson should be dropped now.
Right, okay. Just very quickly, because we've had a reply from a Trace Stain saying 100% wrong. Watch the shadows, which way they're facing. I'll have a look. All right, but for me, he's definitely facing the east stand, and the sun is behind you when you're doing that. So I will look. I'm not saying, I'll have a look, but Terry?
I can say 100% the sun was not in his eyes because I sit behind him and I constantly looked at the sun to my right. So the sun was coming at Patterson's back of his head because I constantly was looking up at the sun and had my hand in the sun like that up to my right, and Patterson was facing the opposite direction. So the sun was behind him and the shadow crept across from right to left. So by 55 minutes, the sun was out of my eyes.
Yeah, right. Okay, fair enough. Right, just I mean, people are saying Simon Moore's not that much better, but to be fair, from what I've seen, I've only seen a little bit of Moore this season, but from what I've seen, I've thought he's been okay. I don't have a problem with him at all. Your thoughts on him, Lee? Simon Moore?
I think he's a decent backup, Philly. I mean, when he came in for Patterson at the start of the season, I think it was, he played 3 games and he kept 3 clean sheets. But I think that was more down to our defensive display because I don't think he had many saves to make. What he had to do, he did fine. But I don't think dropping Patterson now is the solution. I think we've got to try and get that defensive stability back because at the end of the day, our clean sheets, a lot of them have come from when Patterson's been in there with a stable back 4. So I think we've got to try and persist with Pato and hopefully he can improve his kicking, become a bit more vocal, and hopefully we can improve on that.
Right, okay. Just very quick. I've not really got time to pass that around. Somebody on the chat, Dan Wilkes, said we should send Pato one of these, and that'll keep the sun out of his eyes. So we should send it in. If he'd wear it, we'd send it in, but I know he won't, but never mind. Right then. Should we have had a penalty? Blatant handball?
Yes.
We didn't get it. Jacob, go on, you're one in on there.
Absolute shambles, mate. The most clear and obvious handball that you'll see all season. How the referee has the nerve to not give his arm was like this.
Yeah.
Unnatural position, straight, and the angle he was viewing it at, literally bang on line with it. And yeah, how he didn't give that is... honestly, it was really infuriating watching it, mate. But then again, we don't score penalties right now. So,
oh no, well, see, that was another thing. I thought if we got that penalty, right, and I've got to say, I mean, I didn't actually get to the ground yesterday because I was in the hospital. I'll tell you about it later. Don't worry, I'm fine. And that's
the pressure would have been immense.
But
yeah,
I mean, if we'd got the penalty, I mean, who'd have taken it? Lee, do you think it was a blatant penalty? Should we have had a penalty?
Therefore, 100% nailed on. I mean, when you see the reaction from the players like that as well, it gives you a good inclination of how much they think it's a penalty. And his hands away from his body.
Yeah.
Ball's fighting at pace. Nah, he has to give a penalty there. Didn't see it, or for what? No, maybe it happened too fast and he didn't catch it. But I mean, yeah, clear penalty.
Right, I'll come back to you just now, Jacob. But Tom Wolf, our Hull City fan, is on the chat, and he says exactly what we would be saying if it was the other way. He says no penalty. Oh, come on, Tom. You must have seen it on the telly. I mean, his hand's well out. Go on, Jacob, quickly, then I can get Terry in because we're running out of time.
Just if it was given, listen, I'm fairly confident the next one he will score it. But I think the atmosphere was so intense in that ground yesterday, late on in that game. I don't know whether he would have composed himself under that amount of pressure, because it was the crowd were really on the players' backs yesterday, and that's the first time I've seen it properly like that all season.
Right, let me jump in there, because I'm trying to race through these. Terry, was it a penalty?
Yeah, I never saw it yesterday, but I've seen it on the replay today, and 100% a penalty. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you was in the ground, because it's your end of the ground where you are,
I just never saw it at all. I mean, I missed a lot in the ground as it is.
Yeah,
I'm blind to the bat.
Yeah. Who said that? Right, all right. Okay, then let's just very quickly as well. This playing one up front at home. I mean, should we be doing that? I'll just quickly. I mean, who would you like to see up front with Isidore, if you like, Terry?
Right, there's only Meander, really, isn't there? This moment in time. Apart from that young kid.
The face injured, isn't he? So
you could have that young kid that I forget his name, Ogasagi, what do we call him? For the under 21s or 23s, whatever it is. But I mean, he could. But I think I'd just have Meander and Isidore up top. I mean, there's no hard and trying. I mean, we're not playing that great with playing the 4-2-3-1 system. We may as well go 4-2-3-1. May as well go for two up top and try something different.
Right. Okay. Lee.
I think if Lefebvre's fit, I'd like to see Lefebvre number 10, because I reckon him and Roberts with Hume could create a good partnership, reminiscent of what it was like with Ahmad, and before that Pritchard. They had a good relationship. But I mean, if Lefebvre's going to be out for a period of time, then yeah, you'd probably try and put maybe it's Mayenda, not just up with this. I know he's a bit deep line forward, because Mayenda likes to pick up the ball quite deep and run with it, and he's played this on for a couple of times. So I think, I would go for that.
Right, okay. Keep it brief, Jacob. Your thoughts on up front?
Yeah, it needs to change. Mayenda alongside Isidore. Like Labrie obviously said, it's Lefebvre's hamstring injury right now, and you know what hamstrings are like. It looks like he's going to be out for a number of weeks now. Mundo on the left, on the other side. Based on that performance yesterday, I think he'll keep Roberts in, and then in behind will be Neil and Job, but he'll have to change that once Job gets his 10th yellow.
Right, okay. Just very quickly, we're 25 likes off that magic 100 we try and hit, so just hit the thumbs up if you would. Take you a second to do that. I want a simple yes or no answer on this, and then I'll do the predictions for the Sheffield Wednesday game. Yes or no? Can we still get automatic promotion? Lee?
No.
Oh, no. Honestly, I think you've been great all the way through up until that point, Lee. Jacob, yes or no? Automatics?
As Lee says in his country, a big fat nay. Nay.
Is that what you say in northern Spain? A big fat nay?
Not to my knowledge, no, but anyway, fair play, Jacob.
Nay.
Terry, yes or no? Can we do the playoffs?
Not a chance, mate. Our form's gone all together at the moment.
Oh, right. Well, I disagree with you. I think it's there's too many games still to play yet. I still think top's gone, but I think we could still do it. That's me being positive. Right. Let's get your predictions then. Sheffield United Friday night predictions from you.
Sheffield
Terry,
Wednesday, do you mean?
Sheffield. What did I say?
Sheffield United.
Oh, it's my age, you know. I'm in my 60s now. That's it. Starting to go. Right then. Sheffield Wednesday, Friday night. Terry?
Before I get into that quickly, Wayne, what's the chances, right? We get all of our players back from injury just about, Watson, and we get Mundle, and we get Brown back, and then we lose 2 the very next game. It's just typical Sunderland, isn't it? Unbelievable. You couldn't make it up. You couldn't make this shit up. Honest to God, you couldn't. I'm going to go a 1-1 draw.
Really, Terry, that's a bit negative for you. You're normally Mr. Positive. Lee, what are you saying?
I'm going to go with Terry. Actually, I'm going to go 1-1 as well.
Jacob?
Let's get back to winning ways. Carl, let's back us. 3-1 win.
3-1. Philly special. Right, you know what? I'm going to go for a 1-0 Sunderland win. That's what I'm going for. I think we can. I mean, Sheffield United Sheffield Wednesday have getting a bit of form back now as well. They're starting to do a bit better. But never mind. We'll go down there and we should get something, hopefully. Right, listen, thanks for joining us, lads. You've been absolutely superb. Thanks for everybody who's tuned in. Don't forget to hit that like button for us. Just very quickly, because I forgot to do this before we came on air. So you as viewers are not supposed to hear this. But Lee, after the intro, after the outro goes, just stay on, and then we'll be on. But nobody will hear us. So there you go. Right, listen, Jacob, just say bye to everybody, would you? Jacob, did you not hear that? Hello?
There we go. Bye-bye, everyone, and keep the faith.
I haven't got a clue. Don't ask. I haven't got a clue. Terry, say bye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a good week, and we'll see you on Friday.
Lee in Spain, say bye to everybody. Say bye to everybody in Spanish.
I was going to say that, Philly. Hasta pronto a todos.
Yes, I love it. Right, listen, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back sometime in the week, I'm sure. And don't forget, please, to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you again soon. If you remember, watch for your name in the credits at the end. See you later. Bye-bye.